All right. Check one, check two. This is it. Welcome to the Cannabis Coffee Hour with your host, me, Rob Cantrell, coming to you live from Prospect Park for episode 231. I got a fresh batch of iced coffee that I made that I'll be sampling. My new sponsor is Seaworthy Coffee Roasters. Check out this fat bag. They sent me like 3 or 4 fat bags from West Kingston, Rhode Island. That's what we're starting our day with, Day Beacon. Our day here in Brooklyn, New York. We got planes coming over, but I'm working on the Zoom mic, so it's, I'm going to get good sound. But let me sample some of this Seaworthy. I thought, I'm sampling Seaworthy. This is the closest thing to a C that I have right now. So I thought I'd jump on here and do a quick episode. Nothing long, nothing short. Solo mission, just in nature all day. I feel bad doing a podcast in nature. But, sometimes that's how it's... I got crazy ducks and pigeons all around me. I would pan, but we're working on this GoPro, and I walked around the park for like 2 hours. I was like, I'm gonna film here. This will be very chill. And I kept on going, and I finally found this place, and you feel self-conscious about it, and you try to be respectful, because there's other people sharing the park. But I do have great audio and great video and great coffee. Day Beacon, fair trade, organic. Can you dig it? I'm just checking the levels. I do love doing this podcast more and more. I'm getting a little bit more technical prowess on this. Just so bright, it's hard to read. Oh, maybe because I got my sunglasses on. Oh yeah, we are definitely recording. Got my flips, put them back down. I got my Seaworthy. Here it is, a big cauldron of coffee, which is amazing. Oh, it tasted amazing. Doing these live podcasts in the park, I'm learning. I see some people are like, hey, what's he doing? Other people's like, oh, it's another broadcaster. And then a broadcaster. I'm broadcasting from a log here in Prospect Park, drinking Seaworthy Daybreaker coffee. Lots of people are out. It's a beautiful day in August. I do have some great cannabis here that I had a little bit before. This is actually the sun-grown Old Granddaddy Purple, which is more of a indica, but I kind of need a little bit of slowing down. I love doing the last 2 episodes. Oh my God, there's the biggest, fattest beetle over here, maybe. Look at this thing. There's a big fat beetle up on the log. There, nature is, I've just been going through a lot of stuff. I'll clue you in a little bit down the line. But the thing about nature is the more you get into it, the more you realize that your drama is not that big of a deal. Like, all living creatures are part of the same thing. So everybody, like these ducks, these people, everybody's just breathing air all at once, and in and out, and things live, things die, and it just keeps on going. That's the thing about, with global warming, I'm not educated enough to talk in depth about this. This is a podcast about cannabis and coffee, but I also am into nature, and I love taking this podcast into nature. And Brooklyn really isn't nature, But Prospect Park, you can get a piece of nature here. There's birds, there's people, and there's people gathering around. The thing is, I think I start shooting, and then I think other people join in. Let me just make sure. Yep. It's still flowing. It's still going. We got a model shoot going on here, and then then there's people watching their kids, and then there's some ducks. So this is like last night I did a show at the Bell House. Shout out to Joe Pera and shout out to Dan Licata. I think I'm pronouncing that name right. But that show is amazing, and the Bell House is a great venue, and it really just was a fun time. Right now, I've just been slowing down and trying to get back to nature. I am smoking, not as much cannabis, but still enough to get me through the next day. But it has been kind of, a kind of an emotional past few days. And that's what I love about coming to the park. I'm sorry, there's actually there's a turtle meeting a duck over here, which might be a lot better than my podcast. But we'll just film into that a little bit. And I do like having kind of a NPR type of vibe, as well as NPR with a little bit of a bong hit, a couple bong hits, is the vibe we're kind of going for today. See, maybe you'll see the ducks out there. Again, shout out to our sponsor, Seaworthy. Yeah, they sent like 4 or 5 bags of this, and it's all medium roast, so I appreciate that. Yeah, it's great coffee. Let's see if it let's see if it goes great with some herb. I try to be respectful if I'm smoking outside. That's just always how I've always been. So I'm waiting. There's kind of this like cute family next to me, so they just ducked out. But I'm back behind this log, but it's just kind of odd. But you guys got a great view of the lake, so it all works out. Yeah. I did the Bell House, and what else has been going on? Yeah, I'm not gonna do that long of a podcast. I will say that like today I meditated, and it's been really hard. Like I've been dealing with a lot of family stuff lately, and so it's hard to get your feet like underneath you when you're running around and trying to when you're producing podcasts and doing stand-up shows, and then life hits you with something. But that's what's nice about having some structure when kind of the cards come down a little bit. Yeah, the thing is my mom passed. Not to be a bummer, but yeah, so she passed a couple days ago. I don't want to go too public with my family on this podcast, as well as I don't want to talk about politics. But just dealing with it, thank God cannabis has been around. But I'm wondering if I'm blocking off some of my emotions. But I got to go deal with the services. That's why I had to kind of like not have a guest this week, is that I have to fly off tomorrow and deal with family stuff. And so I've been dealing with that the last couple weeks. So yeah, just peace and love. You know, you guys know what I'm going through. But at the same time, I want to, I just wanted to do a podcast. And I need to learn. And the thing is, the older I've gotten, the more I've learned to, there's this funky beetle. These things are like red. I'm sure there's probably some type of funky disease. I don't know, but they look cool. I've been seeing more and more of these funky beetles around. It's a summer beetle here in the park, and they have red dots. But like, there's a pigeon, there's a duck, there's water. People pass. Yeah, the thing is that, you know, this is a big one. You know, this is Mother Nature. Your mom is nature. And the earth is your mom. And, it's just fucking... But as I said, as I've gotten older, like, I don't want to go drifting off into some super emotions. That's the thing about herb. I was going to hit some herb. I don't know if I will now that I've gotten kind of honest. But yeah, that's what I've been dealing with like the last few days. And I don't like to have things like seep into my comedy and consciousness too much, you know, with family. Because everybody has drama and everybody goes through life and death. And I don't ever want to make it like, you know, the more I meditate, the more I learn about ego. I don't want to make it about like, oh, look at me suffering. As you know, this one I think is just going to be, you know, very natural, like sewing, you know, cutting a limb off a tree. Like, I just don't even know how to feel yet. So, yeah, I'm going to fly off and do these services. Right now, I'm chilling in nature. I'm trying to deal with shows. I'm doing podcasts. But I am thankful for life. And, you know, yeah, my mom had a very long life and a great, rich, cool life. She was just a cool, funky chick. R.I.P. Mom, I love you. But, you know, I think I'm going to deal with it in the next few weeks, not on the podcast, if you guys don't mind. But I also want to be, you know, somewhat honest when dealing and going through these things, because I want to keep doing it and producing it and doing it weekly. And by doing that, you know, you sometimes have to go over. That's what I like about the DIY. Like, I like learning about this new Zoom. I like these new mics because, you just get quality sound right off the bat. Like, it's a hardline system. And it's a performance mic, so it helps me kind of adapt and work around as we take this podcast out on the road, running around and doing shit. Drinking more coffee, hanging out in more parks, smoking herb. But I did pick a busy spot. But like I said, I walked all around. I mean, with doing like kind of a DIY setup, you just never know how it's all going to play out. But this background, I got some swans. I got some turtles. That's what I wanted to talk about. When nature meets the city. Like, I always think that's a cool concept, when nature meets city and when it's done right. When a city is like run well and like And I have to say, New York, people give it shit 24 hours a day, but a lot of stuff does work, and the people use the stuff. But when city and nature comes together, I'm just saying. I've always loved good parks. I've always loved when plants or something's in an urban setting, and when it's done right on a beautiful day, there's nothing better. I mean, it's you kind of do get the best of both worlds, and because if you just go concrete all day, then you're like, ah. But after a while in the woods, bugs start crawling on you, and you start getting bitten, and you start getting soft. Did you hear that? They're squawking at me. I was trying to do a paddle boat episode, and I was looking into it, but I had to do an episode like this, and awkward, sitting by the ducks, ripping bowls while pedestrians come by, and sampling some of this great coffee. This really is the best. I mean, I used to think that steeping the coffee overnight in a French press is awesome, which is great. But the next, it's almost better, or it's more fresh, with the Chemex into the metal cauldron filled with ice, and then give it some time to really have the ice cook it out. It just, I don't know, for some reason it just slushes nice. I have been practicing a little bit of guitar. I'm trying to do that to keep my mind active, and I do have a couple books that I'm reading. I just don't have the name in front of me right now. I have them. I haven't started reading them, but I'm looking at them. I'm looking at the books. I'm about to read you guys here in a minute. But I haven't, fully jumped there. But I haven't been getting on myself. I think a lot of us is just all this self-help and all this self-care. You're always telling yourself to do stuff, and then it's you're doing too much stuff, and then the whole idea of not doing anything is lost. And sometimes not doing anything is kind of heavy. I just wanted to make sure it's recording. And, I'm learning about this every time I do it, like I've said. It's almost such a nice day. You just want to fish. Everybody's just coming down to the side and sitting, but I should have known. All right, check. I'm back from the woods, broadcasting from Prospect Park for episode 131. Seaworthy. Seaworthy is so seaworthy that you can drink it in the woods, and also by the water. So we were by the water in Prospect Park. Now we're just up in the straight up woods. But I wanted to end the episode. I wanted to do a light one. I wanted to test out the equipment. This is a GoPro, and we got some good audio. I'm getting better at learning how to sync it all up and put it together. I'm psyched about ice cauldron coffee from Seaworthy. the thing is to set up this podcast because, of the situation. Like I've been running and gunning, which is not the best feeling. The thing about cannabis, it can get you going and racing, but you want momentum, but you want to be kind of on top of the momentum. And then life, you never have control of it. The whole lesson I've always learned with all of this is to let go of all the control and just let nature take its course. Life and death and love and anger and ego. I think we're all learning about it. And I love doing this podcast. I love doing this. It's awkward as that. Okay, what happened was I sat down by the geese, and then everybody was like, yo, that's a good place to hang out. First, his father and daughter were just hanging out. They weren't leaving. Then these kids behind me weren't leaving. And then this whole modeling thing was sat right in front of me, and they had the dudes with the reflective lights. And they had somebody selling action. They had makeup people, but it was for still photography. Everybody's just doing podcasting and still photography. I'm supporting SAG after. I need to get out there. I've been dealing with all this life stuff. I haven't been able to get on the picket line, but I've been liking all the Instagram posts. But I will get out there on the picket line. But I did have to knock out doing this one thing, which is kind of my, a little bit of my passion project. It's about coffee, it's about cannabis, it's about nature. I could do it in the woods, I can walk around the park. I didn't have to ask anybody. I was just like, okay, I'm going to sit here by this log and film. And then I went, okay, there's too many people around this log. I'm going to go over and sit by this other log. That's where I'm coming live from a log. Speaking of logs, I really had a great bathroom moment. I had to do it. Sometimes doo-doo material's good, especially in nature. That's the thing about, But then it can be too much, I don't know. I'm just been, I performed last night, and I'm putting together this special thing, like kind of another project. But I have to do all the legwork. Everybody says they want to do all this stuff. I'm like, I want to have a podcast. I want to have a one-man show. I want to film a movie. It all takes elbow grease and focus. But it's a practice, I never want to be like one of those self-help kind of super cheesed out dudes. I would help you if I could. But you know what I mean. Just like, I as much as I talk about positive thinking, and I agree, but life is just hard at the end of the day. You just the lesson I keep is like be kind. Everybody's going through shit. Be kind. Even when people are not in pain, I don't know, man. There's just a lot of pain out there, and I do think cannabis can relieve that pain. I do think Day Beacon, dude, get yourself a fat bag of Seaworthy Coffee Roasters Day Beacon. This is I was like, okay, I'm getting coffee from the producer, and then I was like, okay, and they sent me they sent me a bunch of merch, a coffee cup, which I filmed with the Danny Danko episode. Shout out to Danny Danko, thanks for doing it. I should have hit him up again today. But like I said, I've been kind of going through a lot of shit. So I hit up a couple people, and then I was like, I'm just going to go knock it out. That's the thing about doing the weekly and keeping it up. Everybody's got to like and subscribe and do all that. It helps. Every little fucking butterfly thing, you know what I'm talking about, helps. But Seaworthy Coffee Roasters helped. Day Beacon. This is like... I will say I've roasted this bean 3 times, and my cabinet is right now at the most abundance I've ever seen my cabin. My cabinet with coffee. It's like I got bags from everywhere, but these guys were nice enough to send me some really good merch, a cool coffee cup, and a fat bag. Seaworthy Day Beacon, fair trade, organic. All right. Let's get at it. This is 16. This is 16. This is 16 ounces. Oh, I told you it's a fat bag, man. Yeah, this, I approve of this bean. That's the thing about and it's a small roasting. I was like, oh, is it going to be as good as Stumptown? It's different than Stumptown. It has its own thing. That's what I do like about the small roasters, is everybody has their own flavor. Everybody has their own energy. You're like, oh, I'm going to open a coffee shop. That's never been done before. But everybody has, I'm going to do a podcast. Oh, that's never been done before. But everybody has their own flavor. Everybody has their own energy. So whatever you do, it's going to have that own, your own energy, your own flavor to it. But this is like, it feels like dark, but it's medium. That's exactly what you want. That's almost to the point of milk chocolate, but it's not fully milk chocolate. It is just Day Beacon from Seaworthy Coffee Roasters. But yeah, it feels good in the shade, man. The woods in the shade, like it's really hot out there, and then you go in the shade. Like it's really hot, and that's good for you, and then you go back into the shade, and that's good for you. You gotta cool off. You gotta come into the light. You gotta get back into the shadow. Yeah, man. My head is like racing about all this stuff. And maybe coffee and weed isn't the best thing to do right now. No, it does bring me happiness, and I do have a lot of shit to deal with, and it's helping me kind of calm out and get some sleep, which is nice. It's a nice day. It's a nice life. I love everybody. Peace and love. I'm out.